That is correct. That is the appropriate response. You all pass. I've changed my shirt because I have many costume changes in this show. I have as many shirts as something that normal people have a lot of. I'm a nerd. I've been a nerd my whole life. I was born a nerd. I don't think it's something you learn. I think it's something either you are or you aren't, and you just learn to accept it. And I grew up a nerd in the 70s. I came of age as a nerd in the 80s. As a member of the computer bulletin board, video game, Dungeons and Dragons subset of Generation X. Really glad that some of you are also here with me. Feels a little more like a meeting. It was... It was not the easiest time in the world to be a nerd. That we didn't have the internet. We felt a lot more isolated from our fellow nerds than I believe we do today. There was certainly no Woodstock. But there was this thing that I was exposed to when I was a teenager that really brought home to me that there was sort of a place for nerds that were too nerdy for nerds. And that place was the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I am going to read you a story tonight from my book, The Happiest Days of Our Lives. And it is about the very first time I saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which involves the losing of my Rocky Horror Picture Show virginity. Now, I have read this at previous Woodstocks. I have read it at a couple of conventions. I read it at PAX Prime last year. Yep, right on, PAX for the win. And in order to elevate this to something which I believe is Woodstock worthy, rather than simply standing here and telling you the story, I demand a musical accompaniment. On score!
You rhyme, sir.
As the Rocky Horror Picture Show is in fact a musical, we felt that it was appropriate for the telling of this tale to involve musical accompaniment.
Lacking that, he brought us out.
Did my best. I'm a long way from home. This story actually started out on my blog as a one-paragraph rant into the reasons that I really did not want MTV to remake the Rocky Horror Picture Show and do the things to the Rocky Horror Picture Show that MTV would inevitably do to it. But after a few minutes, it just became more fun to forget the rant and just tell the story. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. The story is called When You Dressed Up Sharp and You Felt All Right. A few days after my 16th birthday, I lost my Rocky Horror virginity in a shitty little duplex theater in Van Nuys, California. I had wanted to see Rocky since I was 10 or 11, and my mom drove us past a marquee advertising a midnight showing every Saturday. Now, my parents either couldn't or wouldn't tell me what the movie was about. My memory is hazy on that particular detail, and my parents remain inexplicably tight-lipped about it to this day. But anything that happened at midnight on a Saturday sounded awesome. The creepy lettering on the marquee and the word horror in the title served only to increase my anticipation. So y'all see where we're going with this. All right. A week or so after my birthday, My best friend Darren and I were at a place on Van Nuys Boulevard called Cafe 50s. These 1950s themed cafes were everywhere in the 80s, nearly as ubiquitous as frozen yogurt shops. Some blame Stand By Me and Back to the Future for their popularity. But this particular one was my favorite. Though I'd never actually been to a diner in the 50s, this one felt the most authentic. That means that it copied what I'd seen in movies better than anywhere else, and it had Del Shannon's Runaway on the jukebox.
And I wonder, why she ran away, and I wonder where she will stay, my little runaway, run, 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 run away.
That's exactly how I remember it. I can actually feel the Genera Hypercolor t-shirt on right now. Darren and I gorged ourselves on patty melts and chocolate shakes and vanilla cokes and extra fries with ranch dressing, while we talked about all those things that seemed important after you discovered girls, like how to talk to them. A skill which we were convinced would instantly convince her to take an unforgettable trip with us to second base for 16 seconds of commitment-free passion. We argued about the time travel paradoxes in Back to the Future, like you do. We confirmed that quoting Monty Python to the 24-year-old waitress is not the best way to get a stand-up double when you are 16, or ever. And we admitted that Michael Keaton was a far better Batman than we had been prepared to give him credit for. Let us all gaze through the portal of hindsight at Michael Keaton's Batman and admire him from a great distance. In other words, it was a Saturday night like any other. And as midnight and the restaurant's closing drew near, our attention turned toward the most important of teenage activities, doing anything but going home.